Welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU Aftershow. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for a quick episode. I really enjoyed, a lot more than expected, the new Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and we reviewed the first two episodes. It's the last episode. Check it out if you haven't. I will be continuing to cover the show. I will also say that the next 2 weeks they're going to have 3 episodes releasing at once, so it might take me a bit longer to get the episode out. I'm releasing my coverage of the show in the same way they're releasing theirs, so however many episodes they release on a certain day and time, I'm going to cover all 3 of those in one episode. I think it's going to be a fun ride, and I have a feeling the way they've planned this out, I think there's going to be mini arcs, and I think anything can happen. I don't even know if we're going to get like an evil Spider-Man or something like that out of this. It's not just your average Spider-Man show. It's not a villain of the week, even though there could be a villain of the week. There's more storytelling involved. There's direct comparisons to the MCU. So we know this is a timeline not too far off from the MCU. And if anyone is hesitant on watching it, I'd say give it a shot. Race swapping, gender swapping. I mean, if you can get yourself like away from that bothering you, you're gonna have a lot more fun. I'm not like pushing any woke agenda, but honestly, who cares? Who cares if Norman Osborn's black? Is he portrayed well? Is he a good character? Is he interesting? And yes, he is. And it's an interesting way they decided to tell that story. That's the only thing I'm gonna say about Spider-Man, because today, for example, I'm gonna be jumping around the MCU release schedule for the foreseeable future, and we're gonna go over the dates and make a little plan, talk about what we're going to talk about, see what we're going to be covering, and kind of take a little peek into our future. The next movie I want to cover on this podcast is Spider-Man Far From Home, because that will be chronologically the next one that I still haven't technically covered. I also have covered Spider-Man No Way Home when it came out. However, it was like I was a screaming fangirl at the movie. So I came home with so much excitement. I'm sure there's a lot more to talk to you guys about that. I'm not in a huge rush to get those out. I am most importantly looking forward at what's coming out next. I'd rather get the newer projects done and go back to other projects that I haven't covered when there's free time. So I'm not saying I'm not going to bring out our Far From Home cover video. It might even be next week. I just don't want to make any promises, and if I had mentioned that, because I had planned on doing it for this episode, I just got a little bit much on my plate, and I don't need you to feel sorry for me. You can laugh at me if you want. You might understand this. I don't know if anyone plays the Spider-Man games, the one that came out on PS4, the newer one, and then Miles Morales had his own game, and now they have a game together that came out like over a year ago. Well, I am a PC player, and I was so close to buying a PS5 around Christmas last year that I couldn't do it because I'm not going to buy a whole console for one game, even if that game is the game I want to play most in the world. I don't know how I did it. Because I didn't want to lay out that kind of money for a single video game. I know the other ones were on PC at the time, and I owned them, and I know that they are going to release it on PC sooner or later, and it just so happens to be today. And I've been waiting for this for a long time, so I'm not going to watch the movie. I'm going to be vibing. I'm going to be in the universe of Spider-Man. I'm very into Spider-Man right now, especially with the show and watching. I just watched the Tobey Maguire trilogy over a few weeks with some friends in Discord. I'll give a shout out to my friend Loserbeam, Loserbeam. She plays Fortnite on Twitch. She's hilarious. She's funny, and go check her out. She's one of my friends. I want to. Like, an idea is like a once or twice a week Marvel related stream on Twitch. We could play Marvel Rivals or Fortnite and stuff like that. And we could all wear our Marvel skins and show them off and have a good time. That's for the future. It's an idea I've had for a while, though. I'd just like to gather a bit more of you who, if you're interested, MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Also, if there's something from the past you want me to cover that it's kind of seems like it's off my radar, let me know. I'm still deciding how to cover Miss Marvel. I'm not in drastic I don't want to drastically rush to it because there's nothing really coming out that isn't out already for that, but I will cover Miss Marvel and the Marvels together in the next couple of weeks. It's definitely on the agenda, and I'm pretty sure, 85% sure, I will cover Miss Marvel in one episode, all the whole season, one episode, because it's something most of you have already watched, and you're not going to be most likely wanting to rewatch every week of Miss Marvel. I think instead of stretching that out, we're going to stay current. Even with a show like Daredevil, I can't recap 4 seasons in 4 episodes. I can't rewatch it all. I watched so much of it when it came out and 2 months ago that I'm going to get a good outline together. I remember most of what happened, and I'm already excited to talk about Daredevil and this continuation. So the hour and a half to maybe a little bit more, we're going to do a big episode talking about the Netflix shows and kind of where we leave Matt and how we see Matt and She-Hulk, which is kind of a cameo, but it's been out for a while. We're going to go over all of it, and I'm so excited because Daredevil Born Again comes out March 4th, 2025. I slightly believe that they wanted the Spider-Man show to line up with the release of Daredevil. They didn't want them both running. I don't think they like 2 Marvel shows, for example. I don't think they like having them run at the same time. They've never done that. But a little bit before Daredevil coming right around the corner, 15 days from now, Captain America Brave New World. I made an episode like 2 or 3 episodes back. It's kind of defending the trailer, giving a lot of hope and just a little more trust. Give the MCU a chance. I feel like we're all going into movies now with the expectations of it being bad, and those expectations almost need to be met because the ego of my ego, I like to be proven. I like to be right. So like if the MCU starts knocking it back in the right area, we got to give it credit. I know they're revealing so much about Red Hulk during the trailer. They're scared no one's going to come see the movie. It's sad that they had to do that, but it's still all open game. Marvel does things in trailers that aren't in the movie. They do things for publicity. So there's so many aspects of this Captain America. It's a Captain America movie. These are cornerstone movies to the MCU. Just because it's not Steve Rogers, we know this. It's even acknowledged in the trailer. It doesn't mean that old Steve Rogers, he passed the mantle to Sam Wilson for a reason. And that character's choice is going to pay off in this movie and going forward. I believe we'll see him getting Avengers together. I believe there will be some cameos. And I also believe that this movie is going to be just a little bit better than we expected and hope. So for the next release, I don't know if this will cross paths with Daredevil Born Again. In my opinion, I am pretty positive it's not going to take 3 months or 2 months to do the whole show, but it might. So May 2nd, 2025, the next big movie release, The Thunderbolts. I recently found out that The Thunderbolts, I could be wrong, okay? I'm going to give you a 95% on this one. I believe The Thunderbolts is the last project of Phase 5. So post Thunderbolts, we're going straight into Phase 6. And that first project in Phase 6 is supposed to be Ironheart on Disney Plus, June 24th. All right? We will find out soon, I think, the definitive ending of Phase 5 into Phase 6. They have to get to Phase 6 eventually now. We're looking at Doomsday being like a year from now. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I am a little surprised that Ironheart is the first show. Similar to WandaVision, Ironheart, if it captures our hearts, like a new Iron Man. I like Riri Williams, Black Panther 2. We'll definitely have to go over that before Ironheart in June. That's a while away. But just thinking about it, it's a lot. It will, no matter how slow time goes for you, it's going to seem like a lot of work to catch up on Marvel. I want to just say, take your time and enjoy it. And if you're not ready for Ironheart, for example, when it comes out, wait a week, wait until the whole series drops. Who knows how they'll drop Ironheart? They could drop all the episodes at once. They're honestly recluse. They don't have a singular same plan for any show. Every show they put out is like a different time slot on a Wednesday, mostly. But it's not that big of a deal. It kind of made me feel a little bit more laid back to do my review, because for Spider-Man at least, because I just enjoyed and watched and took my time and made a great episode about it. And it doesn't matter which way they release. Honestly, for me, I'll always adapt. The only thing I don't like is screwing up with a possible algorithm where I can be shared or shown to audiences. You know, when you open up your page and get suggested podcasts. I don't know this for sure, but I always kind of believed that if you weren't consistent, like a Monday, Wednesday, 6 a.m., they won't put you up because they want a consistent podcast. However, it's just a different case for this, because if I was to wait until 6 a.m., I wouldn't be able to do that. The show comes out at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm not willing to wait up for the show entirely review it. I used to do that, and I did okay at it, but I don't. It's not that I don't have the willpower. It's like I don't want to do that to myself, or I'm like it's throwing off my whole sleep schedule. So definitely waking up to watch those episodes, then posting the episode when it's finished, no particular time. So be ready for that with The Amazing Spider-Man. There may be more of that depending on how these other shows are released, you know. So again, June 24th, Ironheart. It's going to be a fun show. I love Iron Man. I know she's not super directly connected to Iron Man, but she may have a lot of inspiration. Like, he may be her idol. I don't remember like too much of her backstory from Wakanda Forever, but I will watch Wakanda Forever again before we cover Ironheart. We'll all watch it. There's a Sony Pictures Marvel reserve date for June 27th, 2025. God help us. I hope it's good. What are they going to do? What are they going to do to us on that date? I thought we were done. The Fantastic Four. First steps, July 25th, July 25th, 2025. The Fantastic Four. This makes sense to be the first movie of Phase 6. And it's going to change the game. This is the Thor before the Avengers story, in my opinion, right? So we get Thor fighting Loki. Loki turns evil. A lot of backstory, a lot of up and coming. And then that leads straight into the first Avengers movie. My idea is the Fantastic Four first steps. We're meeting them at the very beginning of Phase 6. It's going to be a very concise story. I think they're trying to throw us off the trail. I think RDJ's Doom is going to be Doctor Doom in that universe. And I think Galactus might rip their universe apart. There's Galactus in this movie. They've shown a little and a lot. We know a little and a lot. And Galactus isn't like the size of a planet. I don't know if he grows. He's about the size of a giant skyscraper, though, it looks like. You can only see him through a window like once in the trailer. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this movie. And I think it's going to be definitively the beginning of a new age of Marvel, like where the Russos take over and do the big overarching films. And now the Russos are rumored to be around for the next saga, the mutant saga, most likely. They're signing contracts to make movies and make that story work. The Russo brothers and McFeely, they are the perfect team to make our movies. They take a step back. They respect the lore. They put the deepest thought into what's going to come next, what's going to come after, how can we create these events that lead to those things. Instead of, no offense, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but what they did with the new trilogy, they literally handed off the story to each director with no plans. And that didn't go over well. It was a mess. And I liked it when it came out. I'm not, like I said, I've said this a million times, I'm not that hard to please. I had a really fun time watching those Star Wars movies in theaters because they were Star Wars and we were in theaters and the song came on. There's going to be more preparation for that on the Marvel side of things, which I don't know why the two studios don't I don't know, like why doesn't Star Wars look at Marvel and what's working for them and make it like Marvel? Like, get the right people, get the right passionate storytellers, pick the right stories. I mean, come on. I don't mean to use my Marvel platform to bash Star Wars, but I used to love Star Wars, and now flop, 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 flop. And I'm sorry, I do let perception, fan perception. I trust the fans, and I usually know when something's a stinker. So, I don't know. Enough on that. We're not Star Wars here, and that's the whole point. The Russo brothers and McFeely, Marcus and McFeely, I believe Marcus has to come back. In the smallest. I think they're referring to him. I heard he's running Agbo, the Russo brothers studio. Let's just say that, in my opinion, the Russo brothers could flop. Anyone could flop. I think the Russo brothers have just enough time to make the exact movie they want to. They had like a lightning strike vision all together as a group about what RDJ Doom will do, how he will be portrayed, what's the twist on this story. They're not just gonna make the main bad guy look like Iron Man without an explanation, no matter what that explanation is. Personally, I would love for it to be a Tony Stark variant. It would make more sense to me. Yet, in Deadpool and Wolverine 2, we did, even though this happened years ago and they couldn't control it, they brought Chris Evans in, but we all thought it was Cap, but it was the Human Torch. If we look at an in-universe, if we look at that as an in-universe situation, it seems to me like they could just do RDJ just so happens to look like Doctor Doom. Just so happens. If they do that, though, I think they're going to let a lot of people down. And it was also rumored that they're going to keep RDJ as Doctor Doom after Secret Wars. That's a rumor, but dang, what are they going to do then? They're going to reboot the whole MCU, from what I know. Every character is going to have a definitive character, and we're going to have an MCU with all the pieces that we had to set up over the Infinity Saga and this saga. We're going to have all those characters in their little homes, a more unified MCU, more definitive superhero teams like the Avengers and the Midnight Suns. I think Secret Wars is going to open up a whole door, even more than Infinity War and Endgame, to new stories and the definitive amazing future of Marvel. And what Marvel does is they correct their mistakes. So Captain America Brave New World, good or bad, stand by it. I love the MCU. I don't want it to get cut down. I want these movies to come out as long as they can. They are therapeutic for me if I'm a little bit selfish. So yeah, again, Fantastic Four First Steps, July 25th, biggest release of the year. I think Thunderbolts will be the underdog that impresses us. And then we have on August 6th an animated show called Eyes of Wakanda. So it's about Wakandan warriors throughout Wakandan history. Brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world, retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. That sounds really cool. I'm not like as big of a Wakanda and Black Panther. But after Chadwick Boseman passed, I got a little more into it. Plus, his movie was really good because I watched it recently. We covered it. It was probably not my best episode, but I really enjoyed the movie, and I miss Chadwick. But Eyes of Wakanda should be cool. We'll cover that. Do you want me to cover that? October. So we're going into a lot of animation towards the end of the year because we have been done with our movies. We got 3 this year. I'm sure Fantastic Four will leave it in a place where you're like, oh my God, what's next? So we'll have these shows to cool us down already in August 6th, Eyes of Wakanda, followed by our spooky season in October, Marvel Zombies releases. So that's like another What If in a way. Honestly, it's a spinoff of the Zombies episodes of What If. They went over so well, they're making a whole show out of it. I don't know if they're going to continue the story that we saw in What If or just kind of start from the ground up and make it a little more detailed and stuff. Either way, I think it's going to be a really weird and fun show to cover and talk to you guys. I think most of us will be watching it for Halloween if you're an MCU fan. And I couldn't be more excited. I'm disappointed in What If being canceled. I am optimistic about its return. And finally, we have Wonder Man. And this is a show I didn't know much about. It's an actor within the MCU. I don't know much about his power. I know that Trevor Slattery is in this, and it's about actors in Hollywood in the MCU. I think that's a cool idea. We'll see possibly also this year, possibly Beyond the Spider-Verse, the next Spider-Verse movie. Spider Noir has also got a TBD 2025. That's Nick Cage. I think that's a TV show. Spider-Woman. These are all rumored projects. X-Men 97 Season 2, I could definitely see coming with another season this year. If they do that, I'll do my best to recap the X-Men 97 Season 1. Great show. I'm so drawn in. I even watched like the older animated series before I watched it. Oh my gosh, so much, guys. I'm freaking excited. Armor Wars, I heard, was canceled. Because of decisions made in Secret Invasion with Rhodey. And then on May 1st, 2026, we got slated, Avengers Doomsday, May 1st. So it's coming fast. I'm not going to go further on the schedule than that. Rumored Spider-Man movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think expectations will be exceeded. I think there's a 45% chance of a pushing up of all these movies by a year. I don't want it to happen. It might happen. I hope it doesn't. I want to see Doomsday next year. I'm eager for it. Is there anything I missed? Are you interested in any of these shows more than another? MarvelManiacPod at gmail.com. This is going to be our episode for today. I appreciate you all coming by, listening, spending time with me, speculating. This year's going to be amazing. We got so much, and in between, we got other things we can go back and cover. I've never been more in love with this podcast and podcasting in general, and I have you to thank for that. Thank you. Share the show with a friend. You can tip me in my tip jar in the About section of this episode. Never necessary, always appreciated. Goes a long way. And rate us high, rate us good. If you don't like our episodes, give me an email, MarvelManiacPod at gmail.com. We'll see you next week for more Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And until then, Avengers, disassemble.